Good, happy Saturday morning, September 14, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Cannon residents told not to use town water due to major leak. Hundreds of thousands of gallons leak from system. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
We're here today to tell you good folks about Cozy Cabin Rustics Furniture and Mattress Bargain Barn. We only use real logs, hardwoods, and reclaimed barn boards to build our quality furniture. And the best prices on mattresses made by Simmons and Serta.
Now at 3 convenient locations. Hey, up.
Canaan has a water emergency. There's a major leak in the town water line. The trouble is, crews don't know where it is.
It's in some wooded and swampy sections of the town. We've been out all afternoon trying to find it. It's an old water system. Parts of it have probably been in place over 100 years.
The town says its water tank has dropped more than 250,000 gallons.
We're getting to the point where we're losing more coming out than we're able to put into the town storage tank.
This isn't impacting people with private wells, but for the roughly 200 homes on town water, officials are urging them not to use it.
And we're asking them to conserve what water they do have in the system, use it sparingly. If you're using it for drinking water, please boil it.
Bottled water will be available Saturday at the fire department and at Mascoma Community Health Center. People can get water if they bring their own containers.
We got 4 bottles, so, we're all set.
The Thomasons are taking it in stride.
We've lived here since 1986. It's kind of the first time there has been a water main break, at least once in my recollection, but I've never seen this issue.
Canaan has alerted other communities to help if there's a fire, as the downtown hydrants can't be used. In the meantime, the priority is finding the leak and repairing it.
They'll fix it. They'll find it. They'll fix it.
Crews will be back out in the morning, assisted by others in the water industry. So far, the town has not reached out to the state for resources, but they will if need be. Reporting live in Canaan, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. AG report examines finances of Harbor Homes. Officials say nonprofit group faces financial challenge. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
Charity in the state, Harbor Homes reports to the Charitable Trust Unit at the Attorney General's office, which released a report on the organization's current financial condition.
We had been seeing that its cash situation was declining.
According to the report, Harbor Homes brings in about $40 million in annual revenue, but faces a number of financial problems, stating in recent years it has struggled to maintain sufficient balances for ongoing operations.
It's a matter of properly handling the resources they're given and accounting for them properly and coming up with some better controls.
Harbor Homes receives state and federal grants and reports monthly to the State Department of Health and Human Services. The AG's office says there is no evidence of money disappearing from the organization. It is making recommendations, including
that they make changes to how they handle their accounts. It's a very complex organization, and there's much too much money moving back and forth between the companies. We want them to simplify that.
Harbor Homes released a statement saying, in part, serving the most vulnerable populations in our communities comes first. And to do that, we have comprehensive and responsible financial oversight and management so we can be always there for those in need. We are actively working with the state of New Hampshire to implement a series of procedural changes that will enable us to better meet regulations for all nonprofits contracted with the state.
Now, the AG's office says its report has nothing to do with the good and important work that's being done at Harbor Homes. The organization has already agreed to some of the recommendations.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Shaheen says she will not be intimidated by TV mail ads opposing ban on Sir Praise medical billing. Dark Money Doctor-Patient Unity Group oppose Shaheen-backed legislation pending in Congress. Senator Jean Shaheen said Friday she will not be intimidated by a secretive group airing ads on television in New Hampshire and across the country, calling on members of Congress to oppose pending legislation to reform the practice of surprise medical billing. Funeral held for Newington fire chief who died of cancer. Darren Sabian, remembered as kind, devoted to family, fellow firefighters. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Jennifer Crompton.
Mrs. Smith, we got your water test results back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so your arsenic levels are really high.
A fitting sea of blue gathered outside a church in Portsmouth to say goodbye to one of their own. First responders and firefighters from the seacoast and beyond there to salute Newington Fire Chief Darren Sabian, who died on Saturday after a 2-year battle with cancer.
It's a beautiful day. Obviously, we have a couple hundred firefighters here. We have well over 300 to 400 of community members. So it's a real tribute to Darren.
Just 35, described as boisterous and kind, devoted to family, including wife Jennifer and 2 young daughters. Friends say Darren Sabian grew up knowing he would someday be a firefighter. He started as a junior firefighter there in his hometown and moved up the ranks, passionate about his town, his department, and people in general.
I've been chief here in Rye for about 2 years, and he was one of the first firefighters reached out to me, welcoming hand, and that's just how he was.
Devoted to helping people, he also reached out and stayed in touch with fellow firefighters also dealing with cancer.
If that's not a hero, even though he was going through his own struggles, he was still willing to reach out to other people and help them through their cancer treatments. And he was, he encouraged them and he wanted them to stay positive.
That sea of blue sending him off as a Newington fire engine carried its chief on one final ride back home to be laid to rest. In Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And our thoughts and prayers go to his family, friends, and the Newington Fire Department. Palace Theater marks 20 years since being saved from bankruptcy. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
"69% of New Hampshire's young children have parents in the workforce. Providing children with effective early learning experiences while their parents are at work supports families and strengthens our economy."
Well, Dorothy taught us there is no place like home. And tonight, The Wizard of Oz has come home to the stage in New Hampshire. It is opening night at the historic Palace Theater in Manchester, and there's even more to celebrate. It also marks 20 years since Citizens Bank saved the theater from bankruptcy. It was almost curtains for the theater that opened in 1915. But with the sponsorship, the Palace has been able to roll out the red carpet for thousands of shows and audiences.
Over 4,500 shows have been put on in the 20 years that we've had the Citizens Bank Performing Arts Series. And for me, what's so nice is you come to these shows, you see families of all ages, generations, friends of theater that come here to enjoy the shows.
Last year we had our best year ever. Over 155,000 patrons came into the Palace.
And you can get tickets to the latest show. Wizard of Oz runs the next 4 weekends.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Congratulations to the Palace on 20 years. And all of us here at the Riley King Network love the Palace Theater. They do a great job. Keenan Children's Furniture Manufacturing plans to expand workforce. Whitney Brothers use combination of automotion skilled workers. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cherry.
Mrs. Smith, we got your water test results back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so your arsenic levels are really high.
In a warehouse where muscle once ruled, automation and manual labor now go hand in hand.
It's hard to let go. I'm old school, but it is cool to see.
At Whitney Brothers in Keene, which produces children's furniture, business is booming. Dale Ward has seen the industry change over the last 20 years.
They're spot on. You can run any program at any work center and get the same results.
With the automated finishing line that we have here, it's very, very consistent. Every panel gets completely thoroughly sanded, gets coated and cured, and every panel looks as best as it can.
The company employs 50 people and is now producing double the inventory it did when President Mike Jablonski first began working there.
Having a staff that's dedicated to the organization and dedicating to meeting our customers' needs, that's the secret sauce right there.
The ingredients have come together, leading to the company's most profitable year in its 115-year existence. Much of that success comes on the heels of an award-winning piece called The Nature Reading Haven, which has sold coast to coast and in Canada.
We have a clear acrylic roof to it that's printed with a nature theme. So when you're sitting in there and you look up, it feels like you're in the forest, like you're out in nature.
And the added success means more hands on deck are needed. Whitney Brothers is looking towards expanding its workforce by 20%, adding 10 jobs to a second shift that will work in the evening.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Common Man Restaurant's owner helps hurricane victims in Bahamas. Alex Ray helps prepare food for devastated areas. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
Mrs. Smith, we got your water test results back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so your arsenic levels are really high.
I saw the news in the morning, Thursday morning last week, and thought, oh my God, it's worse than I thought.
And with no plan, Alex Ray found himself boarding a plane in Manchester heading to the Bahamas.
Landed in where Nassau is, New Providence Island, not knowing exactly what to do, but it was total chaos.
Ray eventually teamed up with the nonprofit World Central Kitchen. They set up shop in a local hotel where they made thousands of meals for hurricane victims and first responders.
And we did 5,000 to 8,000 meals a day out of there in bulk, and then they were put in a truck, vans, taken to the heliport at the airport, and they would fly it to various northern islands.
Back home in New Hampshire, his restaurants were also pitching in. On Wednesday, the Common Man donated 25% of all food sales from its 14 restaurants, plus the food courts at the Common Man roadside welcome centers, raising nearly $30,000 for the American Red Cross and local hurricane relief organizations in communities hardest hit by Hurricane Dorian. And this is not the first time Ray has stepped in to help in a situation like this.
Won't be the last, but I'm not looking forward to any disasters. But it felt so good, so tired, so ugly, so burned out, but so good.
And the work is not done yet. Ray will return back down to the Bahamas on Tuesday. Reporting in Hooksett, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Recycle Percussion prepares to open Chaos and Kindness store. Grand opening scheduled for September 21st. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Customers will call in or email in and just tell us that I was at the store, and from the beginning of the sale till the delivery, it was a great experience. And as a business owner, that's what we strive for.
Visit us at powellstone.com.
If you're a fan of New Hampshire's recycled percussion, mark your calendar for next Saturday. That's when the band will host the grand opening of their new Chaos and Kindness store. Located on Union Avenue in Laconia, the band is promising a unique experience for customers. Not only will they have recycled percussion merchandise for sale, but the shop will also host a food pantry, glass smashing room, and slime making stations.
Kind of uplifting, something fun, something different. And, we wanted to kind of bring our Las Vegas into Laconia and offer people a little bit of chaos, a little bit of kindness.
This is a great opportunity to come down with the family. We have all kinds of bands playing, food trucks. They're expecting 20,000, 30,000 people.
Again, the grand opening, Saturday, September 21st at 11 a.m. And remember, you can catch the guys from Recycle Percussion in their weekly show, Chaos and Kindness, Saturday nights at 11:30 here on WMU.
Okay, and there you go. Very cool indeed. Next weekend. So mark your calendars, everyone. She had a way out. Family speaks at ex-cheerleaders sentencing. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News World News' David Muir.
The sentencing for the former high school cheerleader who was found not guilty of killing her newborn daughter after burying her in her backyard. But today she was sentenced on a lesser charge, the judge accusing her of a grotesque disregard for life. But she'll now go free. ABC's Stephanie Ramos tonight.
Despite the anguish of a would-be grandmother, she had a way out. Tonight, a judge sentencing 20-year-old Brooke Richardson to no additional jail time for burying her baby in her family's backyard.
I can sometimes be selfish, but I would like to think that I've become better.
The former Ohio cheerleader pleading for leniency after she was found guilty of abuse of a corpse. Thursday, she was sobbing after being acquitted on murder charges. Just 2 days after her senior prom, Richardson says she gave birth at home alone, but claims that baby girl she named Annabelle was stillborn.
Did you ever hear a cry or a whimper?
But prosecutors alleged she didn't want to be a teen mom and that the baby was born alive and buried without Richardson ever telling anyone she gave birth. Today, the family of her baby's father heartbroken at that choice.
As we live with our grief and loss, she can now live knowing that her selfish decision was not her only choice.
The judge said he felt Richardson had a grotesque disregard for life before, during, and after the pregnancy, but couldn't take that into account. The baby's skeletal remains will now be released back to her. David.
Stephanie, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Viewer's Choice 2019 Best Apple Orchards. Let's take a look at that list from WMUR.
To protect New Hampshire's future, we must provide all of our children with the building blocks for their future success. That means having the courage to put our children first.
Okay, and there you go on that list. The best apple orchards in New Hampshire. Cook's Corner Breakfast Burrito. Let's take a look at that video from WMUR News 9.
Welcome to Cook's Corner. We are on the road at Barron's Major Brands here in Salem, and today we have Christian joining us from the Everyday Cafe and Pub. What are you making for us today?
Well, today, first, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Today, we're going to do a breakfast burrito. It's something that a lot of places have, but it's something we do, and we sell a lot of them. And they're really good and yummy and filling, and it's a good way to get something in your hand, jump in your truck, and you can drive and eat.
Food on the go.
Food on the go.
That, yeah.
So what we do is we start with, 2 eggs. 2 nice local eggs, once again. Of course, we're using local products everywhere. Start with that, get those down, going, and
that's important to what you folks do, isn't it?
It's a big thing that we do. We like to keep everything local. It helps with our business, being that the local people are what we rely on to come to our cafe.
Absolutely.
We're in a small town of Kentucky, New Hampshire, and that's off of 89 Exit 6. There's only 5,500 people there, so to not overprice our stuff and shop locally so that they can shop locally it's a great give and take.
Yeah, and you know the food's got to be pretty good because they keep selling it to you.
They keep selling it to us, right? If I ruined their food, they wouldn't sell it. So what we've done is I put some Yukon Gold potatoes that have already been baked and diced. We bake all the potatoes before. And then I have some caramelized white onions and roasted red and green peppers. I put my house coffee rub on it. This is something we made in-house, and we put it on all our smoked pork, all our smoked meats, and then people just kept asking for it, so we put it out.
Right.
So we put it on a lot of stuff, right. So with this going like this, and this is our thick cut smoked bacon.
Oh, look at that.
We try to get a lot of that in our bacon burrito, which is what this is going to be.
I'm sure you don't have people going, there's just too much bacon in here.
We have only one person that says, could I get triple? And let me tell you, that guy,
banned, huh?
No, we go through a lot of bacon. I'm pretty amazed. We go through 2 tons of bacon a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of bacon for a small place. Sure. So let me get some cheese up in here because we use white cheddar cheese. We use a lot of white cheeses. We just changed from the 50s, and we don't use a lot of the yellow cheddars. We just use a lot of white cheddars. Right. So basically, here's the breakdown of what we have that goes in our burrito. It's a lot.
Look at that.
So we put it all right up in there. Boom. Try not to burn down the house. This is a beautiful warming device that they have here on this oven, which I think is
look at that.
A great deal.
You were rolling that like a pro.
Rolling it like a pro. And there it is. And so then we let them grill on either side. Booyah, booyah. This one we had for TV Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing is ready right there. We make our own salsa. So that's something we like to, you can always buy salsa, but if you make it, the freshness of it is just so wonderful.
You can definitely tell the difference, right?
Yeah.
And again, just in case anyone missed it, where can they find you?
We're off of I-89, exit 6 in Kentucky, New Hampshire. We open every day, 7 days a week at 6:03 in the morning.
Perfect. I love that. Christian, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Stay tuned. We've got more coming up after the break.
Looks very yummy. Breakfast burrito. And now let's take a look at some events happening today in New Hampshire. The Flying Horse Outdoor Spectacular exhibit all day at Pingree School. Outdoor Spectacular, 6 o'clock a.m. at Mausdelee State Park. Pelham Community Old Home Day, 7 a.m. First Congressional Church in Pelham, UCC. Concord Girl Scout Yard Sale all day at Arnie's. Second Annual Mindfulness in Society Conference, 8 o'clock a.m. at NHTI Concord Community College. Cars and Coffee presented by Alpine Cars, Alpine, and Euro of New England at 9 o'clock a.m. One for the Kids Golf Tournament, 9 o'clock a.m. at Loudon Country Club. On view in Cornish, American Art in the Picture Gallery, all day at St. Gordon's National Historic Park. And 5 hikes in 5 weeks, 9 o'clock a.m. at Merrimack River Outdoor Education and Conservation Center. And those are all the events that are happening today in New Hampshire. If you want to see that list, we will have a link for you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.